Hello, my name is Generikdroidd, and if you're familiar with this type of video, you probably recognize the name Karsten Runquist. And if you do, you're also probably wondering if I'm copying this idea from him. Yes. Yes, I am. But for real, go check him out. I'll link him in the description. But without further ado, this is Generikdroidd's What I Watched This Month, January edition. I started the year off by watching Ari Aster's short film, The Strange Thing About the Johnsons, and it was very strange. A friend actually told me it was one of the most messed up things he had ever seen and that he hated it. But I actually found this film so captivating, and I don't want to give away too much in this video, but this film tackles a very, very taboo topic, and every second of this fucked up film had me reeled in. I highly recommend that you check this out if you haven't. And please don't look up anything about this, just go in blind. If you hate it, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. And I know I'm definitely going to get put on the list for saying this, but I'd give this short film 5 stars. And next up I watched Moxie. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, but for real, next I watched Licorice Pizza, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Both a friend and I drove a long way to go see this movie, and I'm not sure if this is an unpopular opinion, but I didn't really get this movie. And I wanted to like this movie so bad, especially after I paid 20 bucks. Whether it was the weird dynamic with the two main characters and them having a really big age gap, and everyone in the movie just seems weirdly okay with it.
I think it's weird I hang out with Gary and his friends all the time. I think it's weird that I hang out with Gary and his 15-year-old friends all the time.
Yeah, beep. It's beep weird. And also, I couldn't figure out the sense of scale in this neighborhood. Sometimes it would feel like characters would just come into a scene even though they were like 5 blocks away the scene prior. And don't get me wrong, the idea of seeing a whole bunch of different things happen in this film was really cool. But for me, it just seemed a little too all over the place for it to really land. I don't know, but Licorice Pizza didn't do it for me. Sadly, I'm giving Licorice Pizza a 2.5 out of 5. But if you think I don't know jack shit, tell me what I missed about this movie in the comments. Next up, I watched a film that secured my first class ticket to hell, a Serbian film. I actually started a movie night with my friends, and this was the first movie that we decided to watch. Oh boy. And I don't know if that was a good idea or not. I guess I'll start with the fact that I thought this was actually a pretty solid movie. If you know nothing about this, consider yourself blessed. And this movie's definitely not for the weak of heart. But basically, this movie revolves around a guy who used to be a porn star, and now he's been hired again after he's retired. And he goes through a lot of things. But besides all the horrific graphic content, I actually thought the story was really compelling and really interesting. I don't know if I can actually recommend that anyone watch this, but if you can stomach such intense gore that's in this film, I say give this film a shot. Surprisingly enough, I think I'm gonna give a Serbian film 4 stars. Alright, next is Being the Ricardos, directed by Aaron Sorkin, and I found this movie to be relatively enjoyable, but what really stood out to me was the fact that this movie made me like Nicole Kidman. For some reason before this, I just didn't like Nicole Kidman. I don't know if it was her face or what, but her performance in this movie as Lucille Ball was, oh my god. The rest of the movie's fine, whatever, yeah, good, you know, what's his face from that one movie did good, but Nicole Kidman was a performance to remember. I also just realized that I didn't talk about what the movie's about, but if you don't know what I Love Lucy is and the story behind the real life couple, then please go look into that and then watch this movie. It's a fun time. I saw it with my family. It was fine. I give Being the Ricardos a 3.7 in my book. Next, I watched House of Gucci, and pretty mid movie. The color grading felt really off at times. I guess the acting from Lady Gaga was fine.
Father, son, and House of Gucci. Father, son, and House of Gaga all the time.
And one plus side is Al Pacino's acting. He felt like he somewhat wanted to be there. Unlike whatever Jared Leto's character was trying to do, I'm not sure if he was trying to be funny, or sad, or both. I guess you should watch this movie if you like the word Gucci.
All the time.
House of Gucci gets a 3 out of 5. Alright, next up I watched Mass, and what a heavy ass movie. If you haven't seen Mass, I don't blame you, not enough people have. Mass centers around 2 sets of parents coming together to talk about a horrible event that has plagued both of them. And looking back at this, I wish I didn't watch the trailer for this movie because I would have loved to see this knowing nothing. But then again, honestly, I probably wouldn't have watched it if it wasn't for a trailer. But overall, I really loved Mass's use of a single location, and everyone brings such a great performance to this movie, especially Jason Isaacs. Mass is definitely a movie you need to see, and for me, earns a 4.8 out of 5 stars. And speaking of heavy movies, I also saw Passing, which is streaming on Netflix. This movie follows 2 black women living in the 1920s, and one of them is regularly trying to attempt to pass as white. And just a fair warning, after seeing Rebecca Hall in The Night House, I was pumped when I read that she had directed this. and passing does not disappoint for me. This movie being in black and white felt so right on so many levels for once, and didn't just seem like it was done for the aesthetic. Yes, you. I'm looking at you. Go check this movie out. I know you have a Netflix subscription. I'm giving Passing a 4 out of 5. Okay, and a nice mix up from all the heavy ass movies was Scream 2022. Which was fun to see because unlike 99% of the movies that I see in theaters, there was actually other people there. Now Scream is known for its self-awareness and references, which this movie is full of. Screams don't usually take themselves too seriously, so I wasn't expecting anything crazy. Actually, my expectations were really fucking low. I thought this movie was gonna suck, and it didn't. And of course, sure, I could see some things coming, but it's that type of thinking that doesn't get you invited to parties. Overall, for me, Scream was fun, funny, and full of references. I give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next, I saw Titan, and oh my god, what a weird movie. All you need to know going into this movie is that a girl has sex with a car. Yes, with, not in, with a car. Go watch it. What I think is even more important than watching the movie is watching a video about the movie, like on YouTube, where someone is talking about what the deeper meaning is, and then go back and watch it again, and maybe again, and it's go watch it. Titan gets a 4 out of 5 from me. I also watched Taxi Driver.
Talking to me? Well, who the hell else are you talking? Talking to me?
No, but seriously, I really liked how fucking sad and isolated this movie made you feel as you look into the character of Francis and just kind of existing through his sad nothingness life, who was played expertly by Robert De Niro. And the director of this movie, a little up-and-coming movie maker, Martin Scorsese, also makes a cameo in this, and it was actually a really great performance. And he also says the N-word, so... Anyways, Taxi Driver and the messed up mind of Travis Bickle gets a 4 out of 5. And a classic movie that I saw was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, starring Jack Nicholson. This movie was also one that I saw on movie night, and I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous that this movie was gonna be a letdown, but I'm so happy that I was wrong. This movie was genuinely so funny, and every single person in this film was acting their asses off. And the character of Nurse Ratched, played by Louise Fletcher, is so amazingly controlling that it makes my skin crawl. This was a great film and a great watch. I'm giving this movie a 4.5 out of 5. And finally, I saw Speak No Evil, directed by Christian Taftrup, and this film premiered at Sundance this year, which was super awesome because this was the first time that I've attended Sundance. Even though it was online, I loved it. What made this even better was that this movie was a lot of fun and really good in my opinion. This movie is about two couples and they meet on vacation, they like each other, they're friendly, and then both go home, but one of the couples receives a postcard inviting them to come visit the other couple for a weekend. And everything sounds super nice in theory, but then the couple has to deal with quite a few unpleasantries. I like that this movie made me feel frustrated as an audience member, but I also fucking hate how frustrated this movie made me feel at times. There was moments in this film that just made me think, so is the character just not gonna notice that? But listen, this is my first Sundance film, and for that I'll always hold it close to my heart. Overall, I'm going to give Speak No Evil a 3.33 out of 5. And that's it for my January edition for what I watched this month. But don't click off yet. You have to subscribe, right? And if you need some convincing, well, don't take my word for it. Watch this.
It's me, Uncle Swansea, and I'm here to tell you Generikdroidd is cool. You should subscribe. He uploads every 10 months. There you go, guys. So make sure you're subscribing to Generikdroidd.
See, now who could argue with that intelligent man? But for real, thank you everyone for watching. I plan on making a lot more videos about film in general, so please like and subscribe so you can stay up to date. Bye bye. And the character of Nurse Ratched, played by Louise Fletcher, and the character of Nurse Ratched, played by Louise Fletcher, played by Louise Fletcher, and the character, oh my god, and the character of Nurse Ratched, played by Louise Fletcher.